Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, July 27th. Ready to have some tacos tonight for dinner? Yeah, seriously, I'm going to make tacos. How about that? Okay, so let's take a look here. This is the Russell. So why do I have the Russell up? I normally have the S&P or, maybe Bitcoin. I'm going to go through those here in a minute. But the Russell, the reason I have this up is you can see that we are really stuck now in more an even tighter range here. 22, I'm going to say 22.14, and then this fib line right here at about 21.98.80. That is a pretty tight range. We can't seem to quite break up above. Oh, excuse me. And then this line here as well, 22.31. So some levels that we're having a difficult time coming back up through. Of course, that fib line comes right in line with the point of control and the 20. So we've got a lot right up ahead. So getting through that area, I think, is going to be pretty difficult. And like I said, we're a little bit red here this morning. Not bad. Our Dow is off of the lows for the day. Here's our Dow futures. We are well up off of our lows for the overnight session, the SPY as well, and we are slightly green in the Qs, like just a couple of points. Big earnings coming out. A lot of anticipation, hesitation, anxiety. Is there? I'm not sure. You put every word on there, and that is like a great big caution sign, and that's what we're feeling here in the markets. We hit all-time highs yesterday, and I want to talk a little bit about the breadth that was in that because it was incredibly impressive to close how we did. A lot of charts closed well, which was good to see, but we're going to look at charts that maybe didn't do as well yesterday. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is we are very cautious as we come into, we have FOMC tomorrow. We have a slew of earnings. Tesla reported last night, and it was kind of vanilla. And we have a slew of earnings coming out. So I think investors really waiting to take a look here and see what is about to happen. I know, I'm sorry. I am trying so hard not to yawn, but the harder I try not to yawn, the more I do. So I apologize for that. Get a little drink of coffee here, and let's hop into some charts. I want to take a look at Bitcoin really quickly here. Bitcoin had a monster day, pulled well off of that, still in the top half of the candle. This is the level here, just above 40,000 that I drew in. 40,000, pretty big milestone, but just above that 40,000 is a big one here, because that's where we run out of this resistance. The volume resistance will be very low there, which will help us kind of move through. We came back in, we bounced to 200, pushing back up, and that took us into some different charts. We were looking at all of the Mara riot. And the reason I talked about yesterday afternoon that I wasn't in a hurry to hop into any of those right away was because we have to see the follow through. This coming up here today is giving me more confidence in Bitcoin for at least the short term. Okay, but that has some effects on some other charts, right? So we looked at Square and PayPal. Those two are both pulling back here this morning. But as soon as I look at those, of course, we have to go over and look at Visa and MasterCard. Visa and MasterCard on the list here today, just for a day trade. They report tomorrow. But look at this beautiful move yesterday, right up at the highs. Bullish gap, nice push, and looking for continuation here today. So I would take a look at the 255s in Visa and the 400s in MasterCard. Remember, we were kind of just taking a little bit of a look at those yesterday. Because whenever I look at any payments, I have to run through all of them. This MasterCard through the close of yesterday, if you want to wait for the high of yesterday, that works. On Visa, I would make sure it's just above yesterday's high since we put in that new high. So looking good in both of those. Okay, the ones that we were looking yesterday before the close. AA, watching for continuation here. We had a really nice move, a little bit of a pause, and continuing on here. Little side note, I do own, or I guess my mother, because I manage her account, we own AA in my mom's long-term account. We've been in it for quite a while, about a year, I guess. Maybe not quite a year, somewhere right around a year. So just wanted to let you know that, but I do like this very much for a trade here on continuation. The industrials, all those industrial names doing well, and with the idea of infrastructure, inflation. So some of these can be a good hedge against some inflation. So keep an eye on those. AA, like the 40s. So the September 17th 40s were past earnings. So take a look at those on continuation above yesterday's close. Okay, another one I like but did not find any options on, ASAN. This was in our list yesterday when we did that scan before the close. Anything above yesterday's close, we really clear out the volume and looking to test that previous high there at 76.10. So I like that as well. Okay, let's head back over into a few financials. I know GS, some of you have been trading that. MS here, love the look of this candle. This, I'm not sure it's quite an inside candle. It looks, I think it might be. If not, it missed by a few cents on the downside, but really nice little flag coming off of this, anything above yesterday's close. And I would be watching the 100s, the 917, September 19th 100s there in Morgan Stanley. You can look at this across several time frames. Just nice, very bullish candle flow there. So looking at that, it looks very good here. I like MS. We did Visa, we did MasterCard. Oh, here's one that's not been on the list, but looked at a lot of these retail names here, and I like the fact that we broke this trend line yesterday. Look at that, came right up off of the 50. We poked through that point of control area, so there's a little bit more. It's not perfect. We have a little bit more congestion ahead, but really nice movement here. I like anything over the high from yesterday, and I would be watching the 917 120s there on Best Buy. Okay, some technology. Oh, let's try that one more time. Marvel hitting we're really close to a high, but you can see this level here. This is where our price action really settled out. Anything above yesterday's close, I like on Marvel. Just holding in a nice little. This might continue sideways a little bit here, but we'll watch it for a break of that. I like the 917.60 in that. One I don't trade, but many were talking about yesterday. Boeing, nice engulfing candle here up off of the 200. Want to see that continuation, a little bit of congestion until we get above the 20, which is where I would prefer it. So take a look at Boeing. Well, what can we say about Roku other than it just keeps moving and trudging along here? It stopped right here. You can see at this this volume shelf that we had. Anything above that, so I like it above I'm going to say 480. It's actually 479.50, but 480 for a test of that 486 and a move on in Roku. It's just been doing very well. From our list yesterday, Etsy, we actually put in this really nice inside candle. Still like it, looking for a break of yesterday's high to the top side. In Etsy, I would be watching the 210s. They do have earnings coming up. Oh, and from yesterday's list as well, Snap, nice inside cancel. We had a bullish gap. We held the gap, hung out just kind of inside the candle here. What I would like to see is either the break of the low, or not the low, sorry, the open from yesterday, which would be at 77.24, or more conservatively, the high there at 78.74 for a test and break of that 79.18. So I would be watching the 80s, the September 80s in those. All right, that is it for me this morning. What I really wanted to point out is the overall breadth. So although we closed on highs, the number of stocks that are really making big moves has dwindled a bit. Of course, we saw Walmart make a really big move and give it back. I just went through Roku. We saw Chewy make a really big move and give it back. And this is kind of what we're seeing. We've had several days of a run that we talked about yesterday. and we pop up and then we kind of relax back. And I think that's just overall hesitancy here in the market. So notice that in a lot of these, but this gives a new setup to the top side. Like Chewy today is still a very valid trade here, coming above yesterday's close to come up and test this trend line and a move on. So there's a lot of charts that are doing that. Watch for that. Watch for that. Those candles that maybe were red yesterday, because that gives you a nice entry today on the high or on the close of yesterday's candle to then enter. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure you have that. You're not just chasing something, but it does feel like the market just wants to kind of take this little bit of a relaxer period as we get ready to go into those earnings, and of course Jay Powell on Wednesday for FOMC. Just kind of see what they say. We also have a lot of chatter about the Delta variant and COVID resurgence, and it's just spreading a lot of fear, so keep that in mind. But a lot of the FANG stocks doing well. Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, all doing well. So we have that tech really pushing us still. And we can see that in the morning charts here with the NASDAQ continuing on. And real quick, I'm going to make a separate video here, so look for it. I entered Starbucks yesterday. Really nice candle yesterday. We actually stayed inside previous day, and this morning we are pushing up above. All right, that is it for me this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, reach out, heatherc@givingtreetrading.com, or send me a private message, a carrier pigeon, or a puppy with a cute little tag around its collar, and I'll be sure to answer you.